So, all right, we're potting down.
Me too.
And local. Real Talk starts now.
And good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm Kelly Knapp. Oh, there we go. And good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm Kelly Knapp.
And I'm Lee Barrows.
And I'm Rayford Brown.
And we have a
a
guest in
happy
here.
welcome aboard to little Timmy Thomas this morning.
That's right.
I appreciate you calling me that.
It's his special
Well,
day.
it's your birthday, so we may as well
That's
call
right.
you little.
It's your birthday.
Oh yeah. Yep. 62 years ago tonight, about 7:30, I was born. Doctor walked out and looked at my daddy. Says, "Well, you got a semi-healthy baby boy." Said, "Your wife had to spank him to make him cry because I couldn't figure out which end was the head or the tail."
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
So
Lord.
they called me butthead for a while.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
poor baby. You were akin to Beavis, then, weren't you?
Yeah.
Do you know you ever wonder why? I mean, your birthday is always celebrated as your day, but what about the moms who went through all of that on that day? They should be celebrated also.
Well, wait, yeah. Well, we call it Mother's Day. I mean, I don't know.
Uh,
We used to call Father's Day Conception Day.
oh gosh.
That's what us truck drivers used to call it, conception. Oh, it's Conception Day this weekend.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Lord, see what you did.
Don't make Rayford laugh.
No, I don't
Yeah,
know.
it hurts to do that sometimes.
Oh gosh.
Well, anyway, so you decided to celebrate your birthday by coming to grace us with your presence.
Yeah, I mean, well, I sent them, had a message. I like purple bikinis, and
I don't think they'll find one. That'll
no,
Uh, Purple's not a good color
Oh,
for
that's,
anyone.
I like that color. It's cool. It's cool.
Except for
I'm not
Prince.
gay, but it's
a
cool
It's
color.
a color of royalty.
Yeah.
Purple is.
I've always liked purple. In fact, when I was in the first grade, they brought around I call them the psychotherapist people. They come around, they sit everybody there, and they ask you 4 questions. Well, what's your favorite color? And everybody was saying red or blue or something like that. And sat down and says, what's your favorite color? I said, purple. I said grapple. That was the way I called it, because lavender or purple. So I just called it grapple. I get the deer in the headlight look. Purple? Yeah, I like purple.
Oh,
And
God, we got one of them. Huh?
Yeah. So
read about 'em.
I don't
Yeah, we got
know.
one.
She thought I was kind of strange, and the rest of them, I reckon everybody else did too all these years. I am.
There's nothing wrong with liking purple.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah.
You need to get yourself one of those signs, a magnetic sign with your name on it and stuff like that, and make it all purple and put it on the side of your truck every time you drive it.
I might have
Oh,
to do that.
I like
Don't
that.
don't give my wife that kind of idea. She
I
might
like
do
it.
that. Yeah, I like it
I
too.
think it's an awesome idea.
That
I
that
get them every now and then
that
when I got
cow,
nothing else to do.
yeah, that cow turd brown truck that I got
That's
with the
the one.
purple sign on the side of it. That's
Oh, there you
cool.
go.
Get you those LED lights for under the car at night and make it purple.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
not a
okay.
band color. So
No,
you can have that
It's
color.
not.
Mhm. Yeah.
It sure
That'd
ain't.
be cool.
Might have to do that.
Then everybody would know it was your truck.
Yeah.
Comes the purple people eater.
Yeah.
And there you go. You can put a little under the hood speaker and play that purple people eater song all
Oh,
day
yeah.
long.
Oh, that'd get old quick. though.
No, he needs to have
That
a
would get
recording
old
of
quick.
Purple Rain that he
Already
can just
wanna-
Now,
belt
that'd
out.
be a good song.
I already want to put a train horn on my truck.
Oh
so
my
yeah.
gosh.
Oh, yeah. My wife
Oh,
says no.
that
I
brings
wanted
to
to put an
mind.
air horn on my Jeep,
Oh yeah.
a truck air horn.
Yeah. Well, they
Seriously.
got them. They got them now. They just you can replace the horn you got.
Yep.
And just put it on there, and it sounds great. I got a friend who ordered one. It does sound. I said, I gotta have one. Gotta have one. I doubt Santa Claus gonna bring me one of them, but my wife looked at me and said, that's kind of loud.
My dad had one on his car. They used to play the Marine Corps hymn, and
Yeah.
we'd be
Mhm.
somewhere, a bunch of people in the parking lot. Dad'd start that up, and I'm just shaking my head. I'm like trying to hide.
Oh me. When I was over the road, mine played Dixie.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
I loved it. But
Did
just
you have the flag?
yeah, we had the flags.
Is it General Lee painted on the side?
No, I didn't. I didn't have the orange. My truck wasn't orange.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
in fact, that's how I got to handle dynamite. Our trucks were black, the trailers were white, and they changed color schemes. Everything went to red. Well, they ran out of money,
Oh,
Mm.
okay.
and my truck was the last one to be painted. So mine was still black, and I'd run down the road with that red trailer, and they'd about, man, looks like a stick of dynamite going down the road. And I'd holler back on the radio, yeah, and she's got a short fuse too, baby.
I think that looked good though.
It
the
was
red and the black.
It was. I mean, and they never did paint that truck. They just wound up replacing it. But
Hmm.
I enjoyed it.
Truckers-
Oh yeah,
Truckers was a lot of fun.
we did.
There in Wilmington Shipyard and
Mhm.
Carolina Beach Road intersection.
Yep.
I used to go to work that way, and all the trucks coming out of the state ports, and I had a CB in my car one time, just so when I was traveling, and I listened. These guys, they pulled up to the light. One of them said, "Hey, Timmy," or whoever he called. He said, "Yeah, go ahead." He said, "You got your gun?" I tell him,
Mm.
He said, "How about to shoot the rat out of that light? It hasn't changed
Oh
forever."
my
Yeah.
gosh. That was the only way to travel back then,
Light
is with
was
your
gonna
CB
blink.
radio and get behind those
Oh
truckers.
yeah.
They could take you places in no time.
I still remember my CB license number, KYP 1396, because at one time you had to have a license to have it.
Yep.
And it got so popular. I get Rayford would know more about that than I would. I guess it got so popular they couldn't control it. They just
It was
got
out
rid
of
of it
control.
because everybody had one.
The only way they could control CB was to make sure that the power output was,
Yep.
well, actually it used to be the power input, the final amplifier.
Yep.
Then they changed it to 5 watts for the power output.
Yeah.
And of course, and then regulations came when somebody came along that was so loud that the FCC would do a little triangulation on them.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when they found out that doing one of those things called a linear amplifier on it.
Yeah.
Costs you a lot of money.
Yep. We called them kickers.
Unless you
Yeah.
had one of
Yeah.
those illegal
Oh.
boxes you added to it.
Yeah, had a 400-watt bilinear is what mine was called. You flip the
Mhm.
button to talk, you flip the button to listen. You could pull them in or whatever. But I had it, and yeah, we used it.
Get you into a lot of trouble when you got caught. Didn't
Yeah.
catch a lot, but
It's
when
hard,
you
hard
get
to
caught,
it was hard to get caught when you were moving. I mean,
Yep.
base stations they bust you wide open, but now
up and down the interstate, they caught a few.
Yeah.
Because actually, some of those guys had blue lights that they could stop people with.
mm-hmm.
That's got to be an embarrassing thing to get pulled over because you're running too much power in your radio.
Yeah. I mean, you see them go down there. Some of them that had a CB radio looked like it was big as the whole dash, and
Mhm.
we used to pick on JB Hunt like that. They were governed at 55 mile an hour, and they had this great big CB radio, and they were squawking and all. I says, "What in the world? They can't run at 55." And we were out there running 75, 80, whatever we could do, and they're running 55 double nickel, y'all. They're running double nickel. Double nickel. Mm.
Today they a lot of the deer hunters used to use CB,
Yeah.
deer clubs and all that. Now they've done something that's really got a few of them into trouble. And it's a very expensive proposition. They've decided they wanted to put marine VHF radios in their rigs. Well, when they get a big club operating like that and they start getting complaints from boaters, then they come down and they will do a swoop.
Mm-hmm.
They found some guys, I think it was in Brunswick County, could have been Columbus. It cost them $10,000 each per day of the offenses.
Yep.
Stick to the rules. They make radios for that purpose.
Yeah.
Period.
I mean, my CB's got 375 channels on it. You can find one that nobody's on.
But anyway, they got some other types of radios too.
Oh, yeah.
VHF radios that are not marine, that are family type radios, and they got some that you can actually get a license for.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just by filing, just like you used to do for a CB license. And the quality is for the transmissions is a lot different. They don't have any skip going on like you do in CB,
Right.
so you didn't pick people up across the country.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still kind of like marine VHF radios, but without aggravating the boaters.
Yeah, that was always a big deal. And you'd hear them holler, "How about you?" They changed their voice. How about you skip line, skip line, skip line? East Coast, North Carolina calling Bozeman, Montana. Come on. And you just sit there and you can't hear nothing. It was pegging the needle. Now, what is he talking on? But now whatever it was, he could get it. But, yeah.
Hey, a bunch of mess going on. I'll also have a commentary a little bit later on this morning.
Rayford Grant.
Well, there's
So, we'll
some
have to
Onslow
see.
County info that's out, Rayford.
Lots of county info.
Onslow County information from the North Carolina Department of Commerce. Did you hear about it?
No, what'd they do?
Yesterday, they announced that Pitt and Onslow counties are now reduced from tier 2 to tier 1 counties, which means the tier 1 counties in North Carolina are the most economically distressed. We used to be a tier 2, but in 2023, we will now be a tier 1.
I feel it too.
In North Carolina, 40 are tier 1, 40 are tier 2, and 20 are tier 3. And in Eastern North Carolina, only Carteret is a tier 3, which means it's, I guess, higher income or, whatever. Beaufort, Craven, and Pamlico are tier 2, and the rest here in Eastern North Carolina 1. But Onslow went down from 2 to 1. And they said, I guess on the plus side, if you're going to find a plus, the rankings will determine eligibility for grant programs as well as channeling funds for infrastructure improvements into the more economically distressed areas. So I guess we stand to get more money to improve our infrastructure. But yeah, Onslow and Pitt dropped. So it's based on, the rankings are totally based on unemployment, median household income, population growth, and assessed property value per capita. And see, this is what people that what we were saying before about the property values. Our property values here are some of the lowest in the state for assessment. I mean, people were complaining, but um, this also, factors into this tiering system. We are lower in property assessments than in a lot of the state.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we don't like what we had to pay, but let me tell you, a lot of people are paying 4 or 5 times what we pay here.
Absolutely.
So
Well, there's good news and bad
It's
news
good
there
and bad, yeah.
amongst that. But the property tax values, that is such it's hard to take the property tax values like they had to increase the property taxes this past year. They did. There was no reduction in tax rate, or there was a reduction in tax rate, but there was no reduction in the tax properties, right? Property taxes. They still get the same amount of money. And in fact, they're going to get more money.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the tax rate is lower, they're going to get more money because there were higher values of property overall. That was what came about from that reevaluation. The properties in Onslow County after that reevaluation were higher than they were before. Not everybody's, but obviously enough people. And the tax dollars that are going to be coming in from the higher property values is not offset by a lower tax rate. The county's going to get more money.
That
Mm-hmm.
makes sense.
Yep.
yeah.
So,
And then yesterday, other things, I mean, people in the state must have been working. Maybe it's because it's the end of the month. I don't really know what's happening, but the North Carolina High School Athletic Association met.
oh
And
God.
yeah, what a,
Here we go.
yeah.
Mhm.
But they only voted on one thing that would even remotely affect us around here, and not even in Oslo, but in Carteret County. But apparently there were 18 mid-alignment appeals by schools to either go up or down in classifications.
Mhm.
Mhm.
None of them for here except for in Carteret County, and it got denied. So East Carteret High School wanted to move from 2A to 1A, but still remain a member of the Coastal Plains 1A, 2A's conference. They denied it. They said, nope,
Yeah.
you got to stay 2A.
Huh.
Yeah. And all the other things, either the things they allowed or things they denied, nothing was in Eastern North Carolina. That was the only DNC on here. But
Yeah,
they-
during my time in high school, which was a long time ago, we were initially 3A, but we went to 4A.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We
When I
were
was
one of
at
the
Jacksonville,
big
it was
schools
4A.
in the region.
my high school was 4A, now it's 3A.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm looking at some of this, and one of them I know is this is about as political as the day is long. Southeast Alamance High School, they're going to put it as a 2A. They're going to dominate. They're going
Wow.
to dominate now. That's from my neck of the woods. Really? So, but what can you do? I mean, but nothing else for our area other than that East Carteret. And they're adding divisions apparently. They are adding, what are they adding? They were adding one other thing, some kind of a new conference. They placed some different conferences and everything. So
Yeah.
I don't know how that will affect us eventually.
A lot of folks from time to time think that I'm picking on whoever the president is, and I am. I mean, he's the president. I get to pick on him. He's the center of attention, right? And I don't like somebody that comes back to me and says, "Well, what about the other presidents?" Well, I picked on them when they were president. I'm through with them. I don't have to
Mhm.
deal with them anymore. So yesterday, good old Joe, he told reporters yesterday that no president before him has done as much as his administration has done.
Gosh, he keeps saying that. He started saying that.
Even for
day
Joe, that's a stretch, but it's not uncommon. So here I am going to
Right.
pick on somebody else.
I-
Donald did the same thing.
Yes.
Well, I will
More
say
than one
this:
time.
our inflation rate probably went higher with Joe than it ever has. As
It has.
quicker.
So, I mean, you
Yes.
could pick all
Quicker.
sorts of areas.
It's like overnight.
But to tell people that he has no president in his less than 2 years in office has done as much as his administration has done, the inference there has done as much for the people and the economy or whatever. But he just says has no president before me has done as much as my administration has done. Well, that's kind of true if you look at it from a cynic viewpoint. Done to us, not for us. Kind of reminds me of a guy named Muhammad Ali. I am not
Yeah.
the greatest. I am the double greatest, he
Mhm.
said. Biden and Trump have a long way to go to catch up with Ali. At least he proved himself to be the greatest time and again. I've wrestled with alligators. I've tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning and
Mhm.
thrown thunder in jail. You know I'm bad. Just last week, I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean, I make medicine sick.
Mm.
That's the entertainment part of Muhammad Ali.
Exactly.
And I enjoy it. I'd heard all of the quotes before, but I just pulled some of them, put them together. That's what Biden is trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Trump tried to do and say.
He's
I'm
patting
the
himself on the
bestest of
back.
all time. No
Yeah.
president has ever done so much for us, the people, as I have.
And-
Really?
And there's still people walking the street believing that.
Yeah, I know.
That's what
I
kills
just, I
me.
just think it's funny. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about some stuff in just a minute with the president and uh, the border.
Yeah.
Did you hear the screw up yesterday?
Mm-mm.
Yes.
I didn't get
Oh
it.
my goodness. I see a new press secretary on the way.
Mm.
I think this one's just going to disappear like the others have been. How many has he been through? What, 3? Is this the 4th?
I think so.
Yeah.
I know there was Jen Psaki, and then there was somebody before that, and I don't know. It's kind of weird. In less than 2 years, you go through that many. That's more. It's kind of like me going through doctors, the way it is. Anyway, hey, it's time to do a little bit of weather, I guess, huh?
Yep.
You're live and local, Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m., WDSNMe, and we'll be right back.
All right, and we are back.
It's about 25 minutes after 7 o'clock. I talked to you yesterday about Tideline Marine, George and company down there. They got some special deals, and I understand that they maybe had an inquiry yesterday. I did not check yesterday afternoon late, but about one of those specials on the bay boats, the Aqua Sport bay boats.
Mhm.
He's got three of them, or had three of them yesterday. I know there are still at least two there. And through Christmas, if you come on down and sign up and buy one, you're going to save an instantaneous $5,000. If you wait for the next shipment of these boats to come in, whatever the going rate is today, is going to be a significantly higher percentage in the rate, because any of the new boats bought after the first of the year, the prices are going up.
Mhm.
You want to not only get it at today's price, you can save $5,000 on any one of these three AquaSport bay boats right off the top. That's huge. So if you were thinking about maybe waiting until next year and bite the bullet, no, go ahead and do it. You'll be way ahead of the game. And if you want to do it as a really cool little surprise, either for the entire family or just for the fishermen in your family, George will deliver within 30 miles or so of Jacksonville. He'll deliver that boat, put a red ribbon around it, and it'll be parked in the driveway come Christmas morning. Or you can come down to the Tideline and pick it up yourself. So great opportunities for you guys out there. Tideline Marine, 159 Old Bridge Street on the banks of the New River in downtown Jacksonville. Hey, Lee, is it getting any calmer out there offshore?
No, guess what? The adjacent sounds and rivers are what?
Rough.
Yes, they are today. North winds 20 to 25 knots, diminishing to 15 to 20 knots late this morning and afternoon. Seas 3 to 5 feet, except for 2 to 3 feet near the shore. Dominant period 5 seconds. Adjacent sounds and rivers rough, diminishing to choppy late this morning and afternoon. Tonight, northeast winds around 15 knots, gust up to 25 knots in the evening. Seas 2 to 4 feet, dominant period 5 seconds. Friday, northeast winds 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 3 feet, dominant period 6 seconds, adjacent sounds and rivers with a moderate chop.
Today's sunny, high of 53, and it will be gusty with gusts as high as 20 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly clear, low of 32. Tomorrow, sunny, high of 62, but the winds will be pretty calm. And then tomorrow night, cloudy, low of 50, and Saturday, partly sunny, high of 72. But don't get too excited because Sunday, the high is only 58.
Yeah,
So
cold's
Yeah.
coming.
Seesaw, seesaw, seesaw.
Mhm.
So it's going to be. Hey, I got a question for all of you. I'm glad you're
Yes.
here today, Timmy. This
Okay.
is perfect timing. The question is for all of us, you folks out there in the listening audience as well. Who's lying, the Biden administration or the U.S. oil producers? It's one or the other, I think. That's my opinion. No question about it. When Biden took office, he shut down that pipeline that would have brought lots of crude oil into the United States to be refined, right? We know
Mhm.
that. His claim, the reason for shutting it down was that it was environmentally irresponsible to have the pipeline crossing from Canada to the US. Instead, he thought, well, it's more responsible to have ocean going tankers with crude oil from countries not even friendly with us sell thousands of miles across pristine waters, risking spillage, tying up at U.S. docks, risking even more spillage into rivers along our coasts. In addition, he finds it more responsible to have overland tanker trucks, big old trucks like Timmy drives, loaded with thousands of gallons of oil to make trips into Canada to bypass the now dormant pipeline. And don't forget those trucks and ocean tankers. Guess what? They burn to get here. They burn fuel. They burn all sorts of fossil fuels. Biden also claims that he opened up land for oil producers to drill throughout the U.S. in search of crude oil. And that has the oil folks in an uproar. They say those lands, the president wants to lease them, may or may not even contain any oil, and that investors are not overly anxious to pay for dry wells. No kidding. By definition, investors want a return on their investments. That's the reason they invest in a project. And they're not interested in finding out any wildcat drilling that will likely produce nothing but sand. For my money, I'd trust people who have actually worked for a living over a man, this president, who has only held a job in politics, but still managed to get rich.
Mhm.
Makes me wonder how that happened. And by what means was he able to use his influence in the Senate as Obama's vice president and now as the most powerful man in the world to make himself and keep himself filthy rich? And not only that, guess who else he made rich? How about his son?
Mhm.
Hunter.
His drugged out son pulls in money, lots of money, to keep himself happy and well supplied and out of jail. The oil producers are amazed too that Biden is actually encouraging U.S. oil producers to drill for crude oil in oil rich Venezuela. Venezuela?
Mhm.
When did they become our friends?
Mhm.
John Kirby, now with a new title, NSC Strategic Communications Coordinator. That means he's in place to deflect tough issues away from Biden, even if it means making up lies, defending easing oil sanctions against Venezuela, saying that there are plenty of untapped opportunities for companies to drill in the United States. On Saturday, the Treasury Department announced its decision to allow California based Chevron to resume limited energy production in Venezuela after years of sanctions that have dramatically curtailed oil and gas profits that have flowed to Maduro's government. So, for one reason or another, the crooked government of Venezuela will be able to compete to provide oil to the United States. I guess that will make up for the oil that we will get less and less of from Russia. What happens though when crazy man Mondurno decides that he can hurt the U.S. by shutting off supplies? I've got a bad feeling about this deal. Oil producers in the U.S. say their only hope is that a Republican controlled Congress will provide relief, at least enough to get through the presidential election of 2024. If Congress, on the other hand, can't get some forward motion to a lot of our issues, then it will be business as usual, and we'll be talking about the same issues and going nowhere for the next 2 years. Timmy,
All right.
Wow.
oil producing, oil, you haul it, or I don't know whether you actually haul it, but your fellow truckers haul it.
Mhm.
Do they do it for nothing? They have to spend a lot of money for diesel fuel.
Oh yeah.
It costs to bring this oil here.
Yeah.
It costs. You know, how many wrecks are there every year involving an oil tanker?
Well, I don't know the stats on it, but there's
It
a few.
happens.
Oh yeah, it happens. I mean,
It's a fact of life.
everything we haul, there's some kind of wreck factor somewhere. But we could we are still getting some of the oil out of Canada from
Yeah.
that pipeline. But the bad thing about, and I said this a long time ago, one of Biden's biggest contributors was the railroad.
Yep.
And he shut it down because Trump wanted to get the pipeline all the way down to Louisiana, wherever he wanted to carry it, to make it cheap. As long as you don't have to run something and you can let it flow, it's cheap. When you put it on a rail car or you put it in a truck, and I've seen CSX make commercials, we can haul X amount of thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds of freight and go 486 miles on 1 gallon of diesel fuel. Yeah, it can, because all that diesel fuel sits right there and turns motors. That's all it does. It doesn't, that's it. And oh yeah, you can do that. But they still have a freight rate charge, and they got to man it, okay, on your truck side.
Yep.
When diesel fuel went from $2 a gallon to $5 a gallon and $6 a gallon, the freight rate didn't change. They didn't want to change. Nobody wanted to do the freight rate. And at one time, another one, it was $5 a gallon years ago. We added what is called a fuel surcharge. We don't want to pay it. So what did the trucks do? Shut them down. People have parked their trucks. And the ones that their trucks were paid for, they can afford to do that. The ones that are making payments, I've seen where they turn trucks in and say, hey, I've carried it back to the bank, can't make it. And the bank says, we don't want it. Can you pay the interest? If you'll just pay the interest,
Really?
keep your truck.
There's no market for that truck.
No,
Nobody wants it.
Yeah, dump truck. I had a bank one time. I was trying to buy a restaurant years ago, and the bank turned me down. And I said, why? You know, people's going to eat. He said, but I got 4 dump trucks sitting right out here in my parking lot. I will finance you 100%. You just come up here and drive them off and work them. And I said, there's no money in it. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, if there was money in it, they wouldn't be parked in your yard to start with. I said, plus, if I bought all 4 dump trucks, I would have to hire a full-time mechanic to keep them running. And I would have to run one myself to keep the other 3 going, because I can't hire good drivers because I can't pay them a great rate. And what I'm going to get is somebody who can barely keep their license, or I'm hiring schoolboys or girls, and they come through these driver's license issuing schools, such as
No
Coastal
experience.
Carolina Community College, Miller Mott. They are not truck driving schools, folks. They are license issuing schools. And you got to hire them. So they're going to take them 3 trucks. I'm going to have to run mine to keep the other 3 trucks going.
So you're still at a break-even
So
point.
I won't even break even. And I told him, no, that's a done deal. He said, you can't make any money at it. I says, no, you can't make money because, number one, the fuel rates are high. Number 2, they don't want to pay you. They want to pay you the rate you need. And when fuel was, I'm going to say back when fuel was $3 a gallon. I told a girl one time, she said, I got some trucks and this and that and the other. She says, I'm going to get $4 a mile. I said, you won't even make wages. She said, well, how do you figure that? I said, okay. So you leave Richlands, North Carolina, you go to Laurinburg at $4 a mile. And I told her, no, I said, you're going to come back empty. You come back empty, you're not making any money. You're paying the driver by the hour, which is a no-no. You pay him a percentage. But he's going to come back, and it's going to cost you $12 an hour. If he comes back in 2 hours, that's $24. The truck just got $5 a mile. I mean, five miles to the gallon, 6 miles to the gallon, maybe.
Yeah, baby.
And I said, so you cut that $4 a mile freight rate to $2 a mile to go and come back. So you've just lost money. And stood me down. Oh, I'm going to make money. A year later, she's parked them all. Parked every one of them. Couldn't do it. Because and another thing, this is not Biden's fault. This happened long before Biden. And you take a legal alien, we won't say illegal, comes over with a green card.
Right.
The federal government will give him grant money to buy a used truck and a used trailer, and he will go out and haul that freight, or he'll haul anything he can haul. And the only tax he pays for 7 years is when he stops at the diesel fuel pump. He don't have to pay income tax. I mean, as far as he don't have to pay an income tax, he don't have to pay capital gains tax for 7 years now. So
explain to me, just for a second,
okay,
why don't we do that for our own people, truck drivers?
I've asked that question 1,000 times. Now, if you're a minority, you can get a grant, but it's hard. If you're an American minority, I'm looking at 2 across from me right now. They can go out and start a trucking business. They won't get tax-free money for 7 years, but they'll get a lower rate, and their insurance will be cheaper because they're female. But it's just, that's the way it is. And I don't know which president set that up or which government, which year it was set up, but it was set up for that. For 7 years, because you got these convenience stores, these guys, and I'm not going to call them what we call them, but they come in from another country, Saudi Arabia, India, they buy a store. They run it for 6.5 years, tax-free. And at the end of that 6.5 years, or right at that 7 years, they'll sell it to their brother. He runs it for 7. Then they'll sell it to their cousin or their other brother.
They got a lot of relatives.
Right. So you got at least 21 years, no taxes are being paid. But you can't, I can't. And these 2 ladies right here can't do that. And they were born and raised right here in the United States of America. And that's one thing I said about Trump. Trump always said America first.
Yep.
We really need to go all the way with America first. And that we should give tax incentives or tax breaks to all of that. But the rail system, has got a monopoly on it right now because of the simple fact the government we have put them in place of that. And if they go on strike, which they holler they will, your oil prices are going to go up again.
Well, when we come back from break, let me
I'm
ask
sorry.
you both. No, you're fine. Your opinions on offshore drilling.
Okay.
No, sounds
Yeah.
like a winner.
All right. We're live in local real talk on Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME. We'll be right back. And we are back. Rayford, you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Making sure.
All right. And the question I posed before we went to commercial is what are your opinions, both of you, on offshore drilling?
Go ahead, Rafe.
Well, I don't. I guess I will have some opinions, but first let me get along with the offshore drilling that I have read more about is in the Gulf of Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the vast majority of offshore over the open waters occur in this country, right? They've got natural gas, they got oil and all that sort of good stuff. Some of that water that they're drilling in is about 5,000 feet deep, not all of it. Some of it's shallow, but in 5,000 feet of water, that's a long ways down, and they're operating. They have had very, very few issues. Now, when they do have an issue, they got a big one. Whenever it happens, and it's kind of like we don't have a Category 4 hurricane hitting North Carolina very
Right,
often, but when
right.
it does, it causes a lot of problems. So their issues have been contained or curtailed or whatever. They've done a fairly decent job in that respect. There are no offshore oil wells in North Carolina. There are constant battles with issuing permits for offshore drilling or even exploration. The waters of the Gulf of Mexico, by and large, are more stable
Mm-hmm.
than the waters off the coast of North Carolina and across the entire eastern seaboard, in fact. They can be very volatile. I mean, we see that from day to day. We got 1 to 2 footers today and 8 to 10 footers tomorrow.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is to get that oil, you drill it, you pump it, and you pump it into tankers, and there's going to be a certain amount of spillage.
Yeah.
Just think putting 20 gallons of gas in your fuel tank at the gas pumps. Do you think that you get any spillage out of that? Yeah, there's spillage. More people have more spillage than other people have because they don't drain their hose before they take it and put it back in the nozzle, and then there's a little bit of oil gas going to seep down. But add that to the 1,000 cars a day filling up. So there is pollutants there happening at every gas station as well. Imagine that with something that pumps, I don't know, thousands of gallons per hour going into a ship, a tanker. There's going to be spillage.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now they got things they put out there to grab it and keep it from going helter skelter. But there's going to be spillage. There are going to be accidents. The oil-rich waters of the Gulf of Mexico and the safeguards that they've instituted there are better than anything that can happen in the Atlantic, in my personal opinion. And the Coastal Carolina Federation, the people who watch these kinds of things, they have successfully fought putting oil wells, allowing offshore drilling in
Yeah,
North Carolina.
There's a moratorium out on it right now through June 30th, 2023,
Mhm.
2032. I'm sorry.
If somebody wants to drill out there, I would be concerned. That's right off our coast. I used to vacation in Florida a lot back in the 70s. I'd go down there every year in South Florida, Pompano Beach, Fort Lauderdale area. And they had in every motel room along the beach, they had special little packets of stuff to come in to clean the oil and tar and whatever else would float ashore from the ships that were going by.
Mm-hmm.
Because they sailed in waters where, the Gulf Stream here is about 50 miles offshore, give or take, 2, 3, 4, 5 miles offshore there. So all that shipping was very close to shore, and that stuff would wash up on the beaches. You could see it. People would get out, and they had crews picking it up every day. I don't want that on our beaches.
Right.
I do want oil to be mined. I really think we've got to have oil. We've got to make sure we have it in a clean way, as clean as it can be done.
Well, the good news is that the geologists for many years have recognized that North Carolina is a dry hole country with almost no potential for hydrocarbon reserves. So,
listen, I remember in the Stella area back in the 60s, there were several companies that were saying, hey, we're going to drill for oil out here in these land. And they did. And they collected a lot of money from people who wanted to invest in it.
Mm-hmm.
uh-huh.
And guess how much oil they got?
The oil scam.
Yeah, it came out of a quart can. That's about the only amount of oil they got.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that. It was a highly debated thing. What, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah,
Didn't
it
Cooper
was.
bring it up at one time?
Yeah, it was a big debated
Yes.
thing back in during the Hunt administration too,
right,
and he was
yes.
against it.
Well, our moratorium is in effect through 2032. So
Well, they would have to show me, first of all, that we got the oil out there before you
Mhm.
start poking holes in the bottom of our ocean. Don't just go drill here, there, and everywhere unless you've got a lot better indication that there's oil to be had there. And then let's weigh the benefits, the pros and the cons, and what are you going to do to make sure I don't have that stuff washing up on the beach or it's not polluting our waters? Uh, Show me. I'm
Well-
gonna be like from Missouri, the show me state. Prove it.
Well, I remember visiting Texas and we went to the Gulf and the water just looked dirty and even the sand was dirty looking. It was not pretty like our beaches.
Mhm.
Oh, that could be from other things too. I don't know that it was from oil. There's just different grades of sand all over everywhere too.
Right.
Some of it's nice and sandy. Some of it is going to be rocky.
Well,
and
with the
broken up
technology,
shells.
we have today, I don't see why they even have to go in there and drill to find oil. There's different ways with seismographs or what have you.
Absolutely.
But and I even made a statement one time, and it's probably done. I said, well, if you wanted to put offshore North Carolina instead of sitting there and pumping it, because I'm the same way you are about the weather. What if you ran a pipe all the way up to say shore? Under the water. Well, you got a potential for leaking. Well, yeah, you got a potential leaking on land too, but
Yep.
you got on land, you got a pipe within a pipe. It's just like you see these people with fuel tanks, big fuel tanks. Some of them you have to have a wall around it, retention wall.
Yep.
And I worked at a rock quarry that didn't have a retention wall, and I asked the question, how in the world can we do that? And it was simple. It was a tank within a tank.
Yeah.
Because it was a huge tank, and it looked like to me it would hold 3,000 gallons of fuel. But it was a 1,000-gallon tank on the inside of it that actually held the fuel. So the regulation didn't call for what we call a retention wall. So, okay, I can see that.
So
And
a
it,
rupture-proof situation.
right, and it had an indicator on it, and it was tested periodically. If it did leak, there was an indicator inside that outer tank that would let you know there's a leak.
Yeah.
And so,
Well,
okay.
they can pressure test them, of course. And
Oh, yeah.
you can fill up the inner tank and put pressure on it, air pressure.
Yeah.
And then it will show up instantly if there's an air leak or a fuel leak anywhere. So
But yeah, we had a big
does
red
that.
light on it. I mean, and periodically you go by there and hit the button, make sure the light was working. I mean, that was one of my jobs.
All
Okay.
right, Rayford, we're taking a break. Take us
Go
to
ahead.
it. You take us to it.
You're live in local Real Talk, Freedom 97.1, 1120 AM, WSME. If you want to chat, now's your time. 910-333-0139. We'll be right back.
All right, we are back for about, what, 3 minutes,
Yeah.
roughly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all the time in the world.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Some days. We talk about that little mess out there in South Dakota real quick, like if you want. But they got over 4,000 crime scene photos they're looking at.
You talking about Idaho?
Idaho, did I say?
Yeah.
Where did I say?
You
Idaho.
said
South Dakota. It's
Yeah.
Idaho.
Yeah.
Hundreds of elements of crime scene evidence have been gathered, all at a crime lab being studied right now. Hundreds of interviews of friends, relatives, and classmates on the 4 University of Idaho students killed more than 2 weeks ago now. More than 2 weeks ago. Really? Still no named suspect. No possible motive revealed. Whatever police have gathered, they're keeping it very quiet. Investigators are looking for a fixed blade knife that they have revealed, the apparent murder weapon. No other possible weapons have been discussed. Yesterday, police kind of contradicted what they had said earlier in the law enforcement community that one or more of the victims was targeted. Now, the investigators say they're not sure that scenario is accurate. They're now saying that a statement from the DA may have been miscommunicated. Sometimes those things happen, especially when multiple individuals are giving multiple news conferences. The rooms of the 6-room house were occupied at the time the murders happened somewhere around 4 a.m. Each room had 2 occupants. The occupants of one of the rooms were not even hurt. Apparently knew nothing of the murder spree until about noon. Those close to the scene described the rooms as horrific. Some victims had defensive wounds on their hands. One would think that if there was a battle going on, that people in the other rooms would have known about it, but the 3 occupied rooms were on 3 different floors. So I guess that's one of the ways is happening. One or more brutal killers at large, monsters still at large. And the parents, the city of Moscow, Idaho, they are uptight.
Imagine. My thoughts on it, the most likely suspects at this time are the 2 roommates that were in the room with the door shut and locked.
They cleared them.
They cleared them,
they
but
said they cleared them.
I understand that, but why is there not any footprints, fingerprint smudges, anything from a stranger in that area? When if it was the roommates, they could have done it. Their prints are there. I mean, I don't know. Something's going to come out of this one.
Waiting until and one of those people in that room, a phone call was made from his or her cell phone. That's the one they call 911.
Right.
But that was like 8 hours later.
Well, they could have had. They needed time to clean themselves up. The boyfriend. I don't know,
You
but
cannot clean up that much, not from the bloods that I was led to believe there was there. You can wash it down the drain, but guess what? There's that little trap.
Mhm.
right.
You're going to find it. If it's there, if it's ever been there, it will be there.
They showed
So-
pictures where blood had seeped out to the outside of the house. It was like running down
Yep.
that side of the house. That's just, I don't know. It's just strange that they can't find anything on any other anything. It's
Yep.
strange. It's really
Yeah.
strange to me.
Yeah, well, they seem to have found a couple of spots outside where somebody may have been stalking, watching from
Right.
a bluff outside the house. So, am I saying that it's not somebody that was known to these individuals? No, I'm not saying that. It could be a rebuffed ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend. It could be whatever. But it's, I don't know whether it's the individuals inside who were there because police have pretty well eliminated them.
Yeah.
How good a job did they do eliminating them, or was this just a ruse that they say
Right.
they're no longer part of the problem?
Well,
Sure.
I'm like
knows?
Kelly. They need to get Hodge and his team in there.
I'm telling you, the killer has watched enough Criminal Minds and all these other shows that
Yeah.
it's almost like they got away with perfect crime. I mean, no one ever does, but at least in the interim. But, for parents of other students at that school, you'd be concerned.
Mhm.
I wouldn't want my kid there. I'll
Mm-mm.
be honest about that. I would not. It's scary because I
That
mean
really
that's
is
not. It's not like a New York City. I mean that town is small.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I mean it's
Well, Even when I was at state freshman year, they found a body in one of the dorms in a dorm room. The door had been locked from the inside. The guy was inside, had been hogtied and had a rope around his neck where he had been strangled. Parents, including mine, got really upset. It didn't take Raleigh police very long. The guy did it himself. He was a kook. He had issues, but he managed to stage it to make people think it was a homicide. But the door was locked from the inside.
But it
Yeah.
could scare a parent. I mean, I can
Mhm.
see that, and the other people in the dorms.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's take our break, our Fox News break.
Okay, Fox News is next, and we'll be back in about a minute. Live and local real talk on Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME.
All right, we're back.
Yeah. Hey, Timmy,
Yes, sir.
there's a song that comes to mind right about now, dealing with the two individuals that you're sitting there with,
Mm-hmm.
called Pistol Packing Mama.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
that song?
Yeah, I remember that song.
Oh, I got
Yeah.
called that once.
Oh, we got a
Yes.
caller.
That's why I call them Hen House Chronicles,
Yeah,
featuring the
Pistol Packing
Rayfordettes.
In-House Chronicles.
Hey, he came in the door this morning yelling, "Don't shoot!"
Yeah, I do that every
He said, "I
morning.
was more worried about you girls than Rayford."
All right,
Well,
Rayford,
at least I know when not to shoot.
we have a caller.
Who's caller?
Good morning, caller. Who's this?
Hey, good morning, guys. It's Steve. How y'all doing
Hey,
today?
Steve. How are you?
goodness.
Hello, Stephen. What's up?
Oh, not a whole lot. Just sitting here listening to the show. Wow, what a first hour. Y'all covered a lot of things.
Yes, I did.
We get the ball rolling. Them two women now, they keep it moving. Rayford will hang back a little bit, but no,
Kelly and
not
I-
these two.
Hey,
Kelly and I are just shopping. We're letting
Yeah.
Rayford do it all.
I got you. I guess I'll start all the way back at the beginning when Rayford was talking about what Joe Biden said about that he done more than any other president or any other administration.
I thought about you when he said that. Your name come to
You
mind.
thought about me?
I sure did.
Well,
As soon
counting
as you
down.
said that.
We
But
were counting.
I tell you,
All
I'm a complicated man, though. I'm gonna tell you. I agree with you, Biden. I didn't hear him make the statement, but I trust what you said is true. And yeah, there ain't no president, no leader should be so boastful like that when there's so many areas that they still fall short in.
Well, when you pat yourself on the back, it's because nobody else will pat it for you. That's one of my.
Yeah, maybe so. But like I say, oddly enough, I would have to agree with you that was a poor statement for him to make. You know, there is some things that he could point at that would substantiate that statement a little bit, but don't justify it. You know, that's just history will be the one that judges what kind of president he is. It's not for any president to judge in the moment. Yeah.
Absolutely right. That's kind of like naming a building after somebody still living, isn't it? You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Possibly. And then on the next topic, the oil drilling, I'll go right on down the list. I come down on both sides of that, but the thing that I took away from it that I thought was funny was the irony of that when you're talking about pumping oil through somebody else's backyard, you kind of got a drill, baby, drill philosophy. But when you talk about drilling off the coast of North Carolina, all of a sudden you sound like an environmentalist. You want to hear what the impact's going to be. You want to hear how they're going to keep it from washing up on your shore. And
I think
that was the thing I was thinking of when you were talking about earlier, is that if they were going to run that pipeline through the coastal, the coastal waters of North Carolina, you probably would be, very skeptical of that.
No, you missed the point on that one, Steve. Let me fill you in there a little bit. My feeling is,
Okay.
if there is oil out there to be had, of which they have not shown a substantial amount of oil viable to risk putting oil wells in such a, I mean, we know what the the Atlantic Ocean is. It's pretty rough.
Right. But your statement after that was that if they did find it, that you wanted to know what the environmental impacts were going to be and how they were going to safely get it to shore and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And the point I was trying to make is when it's in your backyard, you look at it from an environmentalist kind of standpoint, that you still say they can do it, but you want to make sure that there's good reason and that they're not, you have a different viewpoint.
Right.
The same thing you do when they're talking about pumping it through somebody else's backyard.
Mhm.
Well, the viewpoint there is the only two places that I was comparing today was the Gulf of Mexico and the coast of North Carolina. I don't live in Virginia, but I would have the same feeling about Virginia and about South Carolina, because anything along the eastern seaboard is going to impact the entire eastern seaboard, whether it's North Carolina or not. I just know what's happening in North Carolina. I have not studied the oil industry, and they're seeking oil wells, oil drilling capabilities in other states. I haven't even looked at it.
I get you. My only observation is that if you lived where that pipeline was, is that you would have a more objective view of whether you wanted it there or not. Yeah.
Well, if it was in South Carolina, I still have the same concerns. If it's off the coast of Florida on the Atlantic side, I have the same concerns.
Mhm.
We have something called the Gulf Stream here. It flows from south to north.
Mhm.
It carries a whole lot of stuff. I've been out there in that Gulf Stream. It carries stuff. It carries birds. It carries fish. It carries debris. It carries stuff from way down south all the way up here. And some of it ends up on our shorelines, depending on what kind of weather conditions we have. That's the concern that I have.
And I understand that, and I agree with those concerns. My only point is that there's people out there where that pipeline are that have concerns that are similar to yours, and you would have a different viewpoint if that pipeline was going across your land.
Oh,
If it was going to ride the pipeline that Biden shut down because of environmental issues.
Well, there were big issues about that. I mean, they paid a lot of money up in the Dakotas for the native tribes who didn't want it.
Yep.
And I understand that. It's just like when the Alaskan pipeline was built. There was a lot of controversy, and Steve, I don't know how old you are, but I remember when that was built.
I remember it
Had a
too.
lot of controversy over that too. It's the same controversy that they have now over that pipeline.
And in that pipeline you're talking about, the Alaskan pipeline, Timmy, I don't know whether you saw some of the pictures after it was built
Mhm.
or not, but they were saying animals would not go around it. They got pictures of caribou and other animals all the way around it, some of them standing on top of that big pipeline.
Yeah.
So,
And where did the oil go?
it all came down south.
What bothered me is where the oil went after they built it. The oil wound up going to Japan.
Yeah, that's the ridiculous
That was
part about
the
deal.
because it wasn't. It was just had too much. It had too much sulfur in it. It had too much of this in it, and it had too much of that in it. And come to find out, Japan had stricter economic rules than we did. But yeah, it went to Japan. So it really didn't help us. It gave Alaska some income
It
because
did.
you live down there in Alaska now, and you get it if you live there and you're from there, and you don't have to live it so many years. I remember Sarah Palin talking about that. You get a check every year.
Yeah. Hey, Stephen, let me ask you this too. Did you hear the part about Venezuela? We're now going to sign some paperwork and say it's okay. We're going to get rid of these sanctions against Venezuela, and we're actually going to allow U.S. oil producers to go down there to drill, and forget about they don't have any of these safeguards in Venezuela.
Yeah.
To be doing.
On its face, I'd say that I don't like that. I don't like the way that sounds. I'd be curious what their justification for that was. Yeah.
Was it made it cheaper?
Well, that kind of is what makes the world go round, unfortunately. But that don't necessarily mean, cheaper ain't always right. So,
for the people of Venezuela, that's a pretty country. Okay, that's a lot of, they got some absolutely drop dead gorgeous beef coming out of there. There's a wonderful farming area. But unless they had the same safeguards that we would require for Texas, for oil wells in Texas or New Mexico or wherever, unless they can do that, we should not be part of it. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and like I say, I'd be interested what their justification, for that was, because on its face, it doesn't sound real pretty.
No,
But I would assume that they knew that didn't sound real well, and that they've got a what they consider a decent reason for it. But I don't know what that would be.
I believe I would come out with a decent reason for it before I would come out. This is what we're going to do. Here's the paperwork that I've signed.
I agree. You would want to get in front of that for sure.
You put that horse in front of that cart.
Yeah. Well, I guess the only other thing was on the agenda that y'all talked about this morning was Hunter Biden, and going into him, and on that issue, if he's dirty, get him. If he's dirty, get him.
Don't get him.
But
we really haven't talked too much about that. But that laptop story is just not going to go away, and we've got now the folks over there in the social media that prohibited, they censored parts of the story, the report that were coming out. And the guy that used to be there, who quit now this week or last week, he says they should not have censored that story. He agreed with it at the time, but there's just way too much smoke, and there are flames shooting through the smoke these days, and it's questionable about how that investigation evolved.
Well, and there's enough factors there that make it where it's possible. His son had drug issues. He's around a lot of money, a lot of influence peddling. It's possible. So if he did something dirty, get him. The only thing I would say is that if you're gonna hold those people accountable, you can't be selective about who you hold accountable.
I totally agree.
Now I'm not gonna call out any names, but I know there's other people that need to be held accountable that you don't want to talk about no more. That you're not in that story. You don't want to hear about that, and that's kind of the I don't know how quite to put it, but
just put it out there.
That's kind of hard. That's the hard pill that you have to swallow, man. You can't just be want to hold one group accountable. You need to be objective and hold everybody to the same standard.
Well, let me just put out there what you're talking about. You're talking about Donald Trump and the shenanigans.
I won't even gonna say his name. I'll just go say that without saying him. I'm saying I'd be objective. There's other people beyond him. He's not the only one.
I mean, I wish she'd have been got caught.
If there's enough what they call probable cause, there's a difference between probable cause and evidence. Probable cause is a reason to be suspicious that there is evidence to be obtained. Done. Now, if there's enough probable cause to go after him, which there is, and that is before a couple of district attorneys right now, U.S. attorneys, they are pursuing that. If that probable cause gives them enough information to produce evidence, to go after evidence, like that's when they issue subpoenas and they grab people and they grab products, and, they get bank accounts. That's when it becomes a completely different story. Biden's little Hunter, his stuff has already gone way beyond that probable cause area. That is in the evidentiary portion of this investigation. I mean, even poor dumb little me sitting down here in Jacksonville understands that. So, but no, he's not the only one, and probably not the only one in that whole circle. and definitely not the only one in the political arena.
Right.
So,
But as far as people, political people who are being held accountable, we got one who's, neck deep in criminal litigations already,
Yeah.
and you want to avoid that story and talk about the possibility of corruption on the other side. And that's the only thing that it kind of strikes me as odd, is that it doesn't really seem very objective. That the other story is so much further along on that proven corruption than the story that you want to talk about.
well,
But I want to talk about both of them. I want to hold all of them across the board.
Again, there's been more political about the Trump thing, and which I hate. That is nothing but a disguise to water down a criminal investigation.
Mhm.
That's all that is. Coming from both parties, that's mostly what I'm seeing is political posturing. Coming from Trump, coming from the Democrats, it's this, pick one. I don't care which one. It's pretty much the same. With the Hunter story, again, I'm way beyond the probable cause part of that one. Too much was done to shade this laptop, keep it from getting into the hands of investigators, and then that holds the clues, that all the evidence right there. That needs to be done. Now, whether it happens after Biden is out of office or not, I don't know, or really don't care. That one still needs to be done. Trump's out of office. I would hate to think that the only reason that they are pursuing the Trump thing is because he has announced that he's going to run for election again. Don't get me wrong. If an investigation is going to be pursued, it should be pursued regardless of whether Donald Trump is intending to run for election. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely agree. That's kind of where I guess I'm a little confused as to where you're getting your information from, because it seems like you're saying that everything that's coming down on Donald Trump is politically motivated, and I mean we've clearly seen him, break the law. Everybody's seen him do it. He's admitted to it.
I did not say that. I didn't even hint at that. I said I would hate.
Okay, well I misunderstood. I'm sorry.
I would hate to see, because Trump is using it as a defense. The only reason they're coming after me is because I'm running for election.
Mhm.
And then we're hearing from individuals from the other side saying, oh my God, this guy's going to run for election. We got to make sure we stop him. That came from the Pelosi and Schumer camps.
I can understand their sentiment that they would want to block him from becoming president again. I mean, even you don't want to see that happen.
I don't want to see it, but I'm not going to use the legal system to stop it.
No, but I mean, I don't understand how you think that there's somebody using the legal system to stop it. These are, nobody, like, the documents. Nobody had anything to do with that but Trump. He did it, and I mean, that's an investigation that needs to go forward. He broke the law by his own standard. He in his campaign said many times that he fully understood the severity of mishandling documents like that.
Yeah.
So that can't be. There's no way you can really say that's politically motivated. That's all him.
I'm not saying that's politically motivated.
Okay. Well, I mean, you say they're using the justice system to, try and stop him from running for president.
I'm saying that there are two sides that are saying it's politically motivated. One side being Donald Trump saying it's politically motivated. I'm not saying that it's politically motivated.
Okay.
That Donald Trump said it's politically motivated. I do also know that Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi have said we can't have this man in office again, so let's make sure he doesn't get there at any cost.
Mhm.
Okay. But I mean, I still don't see where there's a connection between that and his the legal jeopardies that he's in. Yeah, all the legal jeopardies he's in were, are honest prosecutions that are moving forward. I don't know if they'll,
And they
you know,
should,
result in a
as they
conviction,
should
but
be. I'm not saying stop it. I'm saying that
Yeah.
if there's probable cause there, go look for the evidence.
right,
There is
right,
probable
right.
cause there, right? I got no doubt about it. There is enough probable cause that any
Yeah.
constable would go forth and look for evidence.
Right, right, right.
So no
But
problem with that.
I get that. I get that. But the way that I don't really know how to put it. It seems like you're in one case you're from a defensive point, like if they got him, get him, but you still want to try and somehow make Donald Trump the victim instead of the villain.
No, Donald Trump
Yeah.
has to make himself the victim. That's what I've said time and again.
Right, 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 right. And I may just be twisting your words and misunderstanding what
You
you're saying. That may be just on me.
Well,
Yeah.
gentlemen, guess
Okay.
what?
We gotta take a break.
Thanks, Stephen.
Great
Yeah.
conversation.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a wonderful day.
Lord,
All right,
take it easy, buddy.
take it away, Rayford.
I don't know. I got to get a deeper breath. You ready?
Do it.
You're live and local, real talk on Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME. We'll be right back.
All right, Rayford, we're back.
I have to say I do appreciate Steve because for this hour and probably the next that'll be left over, I don't have to take another breathing treatment.
Yeah.
Just
Thank you,
kidding,
Steve.
Steve. Just kidding.
You two do have
Okay.
some great
Down at Tideline
conversations.
Marine, sponsor of the Marine Forecast each day. There's more than the three little boats or two boats and maybe a third one's still available. That's going to be interesting enough to make you stop by. If you're looking for, like my wife does, she loves decorating a separate little tree. She calls it her ornament tree for fishing and for diving and other sporting stuff. Tideline Marine's got a lot of these ornaments. They would help make either your regular tree light up, looking pretty cool. You got these nice fishing ornaments there, boating ornaments, Santa Claus sitting in a beach chair, Santa Claus sitting in a lifeguard stand, things like that. That's just really cool to me. I love that kind of stuff. Tideline's got them. They got them on display. They bring them out once a year. They're here now. And there are fewer of them than there were over the last few years because a lot of people bought them, including yours truly. So you want to check that out, along with the possibility of gifts for your angler in your family, a friend of yours, your fishing buddy. Check it out. There's some good stuff there. Tideline Marine, 159 Old Bridge Street, on the banks of the New River in downtown Jacksonville. Lee, what's the marine forecast for offshore drilling today?
Okay, today is north winds 20 to 25 knots, diminishing to 15 knots late this morning and afternoon. Seas 3 to 5 feet, except 2 to 3 feet near shore. Dominant period 5 seconds. Adjacent sounds and rivers are right. There you go.
Yes.
Diminishing to choppy late this afternoon. Tonight, northeast winds around 15 knots, gust up to 25 knots in the evening. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Dominant period 5 seconds. Friday, northeast winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Dominant period 6 seconds. And Saturday, southwest winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas 2 to 4 feet. Adjacent sounds and rivers with a moderate chop.
Today, sunny, high of 53 and gusty winds. Tonight, clear, low of 32. So that's cold, actually. Tomorrow, sunny, high of 62. Tomorrow night, cloudy, low of 50. And on Saturday, sunny, partly sunny,
Okay.
whatever that means, high of 72.
That's what I asked. What's the difference in partly cloudy?
I don't know.
Well, it depends upon half full or half empty
Yeah.
glass.
Here we
If
go.
Skip was alive, we'd ask him that
That's
question.
right.
And
I
he
was
would tell
just
you.
thinking that.
I do too. I
Well,
miss
we-
old Skip.
I
Yeah.
do too.
Rayford, we have a caller. Good morning,
Hey,
caller.
who's the
Who's
caller?
this?
Well, good morning. This is Jennifer.
Good morning.
Let's see. First,
Jenny Pooh.
I missed part of the show, but Terry told me that it's Timmy's birthday, so I want to give a big shout out. Happy birthday to Timmy. And then I wanted to call in about the whole, just give my 2 cents on the whole Donald Trump, Hunter Biden, all that kind of mess.
Let
The
her rip.
the media coverage. Now, I'm not saying whether I'm not stirring that pot that much. I'm not saying whether this one did anything wrong and didn't, any of that mess. But for 4 years, all you heard was Russian collusion, blah, 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 every news. I mean, whatever, that's all you heard. That's all you heard. Documents at Mar-a-Lago, this and that and the other. But Hunter's laptop, and Biden saying that he doesn't know anything about his son's business dealings and all that, they hushed it up. It's with all of them, and it should not be that way. The news media should not be that way. Paul Pelosi, I want to know who was in that car with him when he wrecked his Porsche. But they're not going to put it out there. What was he doing? What did he get charged with? All of that. Who was in his house? What was all of that about?
Right.
I can tell you, if my life is in danger and I open the front door and the police are there, I'm going to run to the police. I'm not going to walk back into the house where the danger is. None of it makes any sense. But they're going to spin their own little yarn about it, and they're only going to tell you what they want you to know, because it is the people in power. It is the Pelosi's and the Bidens and the Trumps and all the ones with the money that's pulling all the purse strings, and the media is going to dance around them. And that's what just really aggravates me the most about it. Everybody fusses about Trump and Biden, and I'm an independent. I could have gone either way on it. Do I think Biden needs to be up there? No. Biden needs to be on some medicine about every 4 hours in a nursing home somewhere.
Probably. He just ain't. He is in the nursing home. It's called the White House now.
Exactly. Jill needs to be whipped for letting her husband be out there making an idiot of himself and the country.
I guarantee you Jennifer would not do that to her husband.
No, I
And I
most
know
certainly
Robbie
would
wouldn't.
not. No, I mean, I grew up in the mountains. We used to always say, "Oh, we don't hide our crazy. We set them out on the front porch and give them a cocktail." Well, but we didn't take them into town. We just left them on the front porch. But I mean, it is honestly, Lord, it's like watching old soap operas or something. And this is our country, for crying out loud. This is people's lives that they're dealing with. And there's a whole lot more, trust me, there's a whole lot more to the whole documents at Mar-a-Lago, whether he took them or not. Why did the FBI make such a big, turn the cameras off and not letting anybody go in there? Well, that is suspect right there. And, Biden getting, I don't know anything about my son's business dealings. Well, that's a lie.
Well,
I mean,
he's probably true. He
everybody
doesn't
else
remember.
knows about
Yeah,
it.
he don't remember.
Do what?
He
He probably
don't
doesn't remember.
Well, that is true. That is true. I'll give him that. I'll give him that.
Remember what flavor ice cream you had yesterday. But,
Exactly. But, he can remember sniffing somebody's hair, the old
Yeah.
creeper. But anywho, but I can tell you, this old girl would be locked up because if he got around my granddaughters and done anything like that,
them grit
me and
women
Gertrude
rough.
would have something to say to him. So, but anywho, I just wanted to call in and tell Timmy happy birthday because
Thanks.
I had missed it. I was busy this morning, and Terry told me it's Timmy's birthday. And me and Timmy go way back
Oh,
at
yeah.
Piggly Wiggly. So, happy birthday.
I want you to give me a birthday present. This is what I want you to do.
Oh, no.
Oh,
you can't
Lord,
even-
you're on the air.
I know that. I'm going to keep it sealed.
Uh-oh.
I want you to go in there and I want you to find that purple bikini you got.
Oh,
I
God.
told you.
And I want you to put it on and I want you to go in there because Terry's my best buddy. And you just kiss Terry, put you some hooker red lipstick on. And just kiss Terry all over. And then go on, and that'll be my birthday present for my buddy Terry. I want you to do
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah, don't do it to me, do it to Terry.
I'm on the front porch.
Oh,
Terry's
okay.
in there at the kitchen table, and I know he's
Well,
listening.
he
Thinking,
needs that. He tell him I
I
said
think, I
it's
think
his.
he's calling now.
Oh, Lord.
You be good, my grit girl.
All right, honey. Y'all have a great day.
All right.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right, we have another caller. Good morning, caller. Who's this?
Hey, good morning. This
Uh-oh.
is Robin.
Oh,
What's up?
hey, Robin.
Hey, Robin.
I'm not going to
nice
offer the
birthday.
same birthday present to Kelly that I just offered to Terry. So never mind. Okay.
Well, I haven't got past the first of her greeting. Oh, but anyway.
No, that was me.
Oh, it was you? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so
I
let's-
was like, I thought it was Jennifer's
uh,
husband. I was so excited, and then it was you. So, okay.
is it your birthday, Tim?
Yes, it is. I am.
Well, that's
I'm
what
older
I
than
thought I
you
heard.
are
I wanted.
today. I think.
I don't know. I don't know about that. What year were you
Yeah.
born?
I'm born in 60. Weren't you born in 60
Yeah,
also?
but he's December.
Oh,
He
In
well
a
I
month.
oh okay. Yeah, I'm about 20 some days older than you are.
yeah,
I
that's
knew it
not
was
the
right there
same
about the
age.
same.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's about the same thing. Well, I didn't know that, and I heard you on the radio. And
Yeah, I can draw.
number
Social
one, it's good to
Security.
hear you. I take it you're in the studio, obviously.
Yes,
and,
sir.
that's
Yes.
good.
Yep.
And I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday,
I
brother.
appreciate it. I got.
Be kind to
good
your
for you.
elders there.
Yeah, be
Robin.
kind to your elders. I'm legal now. I'm 62. I can draw Social Security. Hello, here we come.
Well, I think Robin's about the same age.
She will
isn't
be
he?
at the end of the
Yeah,
month.
and his is the
There
end
you
of the
go.
month. What, the 28th?
20.
Yeah, I'll be.
29th. That's
Yeah,
right.
I'll be 62 at the end of the month.
Right.
So
I know we're right there
I'm
close
getting there, man.
together.
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. But
children.
anyway, I just want to wish you a happy birthday, brother.
Thank you.
We've had some good talks in the past, and I wish
Yeah.
you the best. And I'm hoping for the best for you, man.
Well, I appreciate what you guys have done for, and I keep harping on that for the USDA. What y'all did. I mean, I wish it could be permanent, and maybe they can figure out a way for it to be. It's pretty good. She finally got phone service. She hadn't got printer yet. She still has to go to the old building to do the print. But like I said the other day on the phone, it's not y'all's fault. That's an AT&T problem.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Well,
y'all have
I mean,
nothing to do with it.
Regardless of what people may think, we try to find a solution to the problems that we face and try to make it equitable for everybody. And hopefully we'll just keep on pressing.
And the only
we've got a new year ahead of us. We're already starting it's December. We have an organizational meeting next week, and then we'll slam into the budget process here starting in the first week of January. So we've got another about 4 or 5 months to hit the budget hard and take a look at some things and see what we can do. So it's going to be a busy time for us.
Yeah.
Hey, Robin.
But yes, sir.
Question for you. Monday, one new commissioner and 2 other commissioners going to be re-sworn in. One commissioner is going to be sworn in, a new one. And then you're going to elect a chairman. Any predictions in your crystal ball, sir?
No, I don't have any predictions. And, that as far as I'm concerned, it's an organizational meeting. We'll swear in the re-elected commissioners and the new commissioner, obviously. And welcome aboard Lisa Carpenter. She'll be taking her seat as one of the commissioners next week. And, this is where we take care of our administrative stuff, like for the chairman and vice chairman. And I have no predictions whatsoever on that. And, it's to each commissioner's decision to who they want to be the chairman and or the vice chairman. So
personally, I think you ought to go outside the chairman, outside the commission, and select somebody from the community, and I'll volunteer.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
Oh, no.
Well, number one, Rayford, no.
He's got new arteries. He's ready to go.
That's not. I can't even. I know you're joking, so that's why I'm kind of smiling about that one. But
Can I be
that's a
sergeant
big
at arms
no.
then?
Yeah.
No.
Remember the Sentinel, the FFA Sentinel? You can be the Sentinel. Greet him at the
I'll tell you
door.
what. We'll let you be the sergeant at arms
There
from
you go.
home.
From home.
Oh, I can do that too.
I'm sure you can because that way
stuff available.
that way we can easily mute the button. If you,
There you go.
I'm just kidding, but no. But yeah, we got a lot of things planned, and we've got a lot of things that are ahead of us, and we've got some challenges. The biggest challenge I think we overcame this year, whether people believe it or not, is that we did not have any disastrous weather such as a hurricane or anything of that sort. And that's a blessing for sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We dodged another bullet. I think we took our hits with Florence, big hits with Florence, and we needed a break, and I'm glad for that. So that's a big plus for us. And believe it or not, the commissioners are very happy about that because
Get ready for the
money.
March snowstorm and ice storm coming.
No.
Yeah.
That's not happening either. That's not happening either. You can wish for it, but that's not
I'm
happening
not
either. At
wishing
least I
for
hope
it.
it's
I'm
not.
just predicting it.
You're going to be all by yourself
no.
in that studio. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyway, I'll get off of here. I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday, Timmy, because I heard it. And
thank you, bud.
it's pretty cool. And I didn't realize that we were that close.
Yeah. I
Wow.
remember
So
Kelly telling me you one time you were born in late December, and I said, so I'm only about 28 days older than you.
Yep, because mine's on the 29th, and we're born in the same month, so that's a good thing. So I guess that's what we got in common.
Yeah,
as well.
Are you Sagittarius too? Or
No, I'm
does it
not. I'm a
change up?
Capricorn.
That's right. I'm sorry.
Capricorn.
But yeah, December's a good month. You can't beat December. It's great. You know, it's Jesus' birthday. It's my birthday. It's your birthday. You know, everything. Kelly don't have a canopy yet for her lawnmowers, but you know, it's coming. It's coming. Yeah.
Well, she's pretty persuasive, and that's why she was born in May, so she's a Taurus. She's a bull.
Yeah, but it's been 3 years, Robin.
Well, she can't cut grass anymore because she's allergic, so it doesn't really matter. It's a moot point.
Oh, okay.
So I cut the grass.
Stop right there because I'm fairly certain that enclosed air conditioning
Yeah.
vacuum lawnmower
That would
Mhm.
work out
will
well.
work
Yeah,
perfectly,
well,
Robin.
I agree with that. GoFundMe page right now. Let's
Yeah.
get started.
Well, yeah, you know what? I didn't even think about that. And
All I got to do
yeah,
is
she
keep the
got me on
cabin
that.
filter changed.
She got me on that point.
Yeah,
I didn't
she
even think
did.
about that.
Do that. I
Keep
like mowing my
on.
yard.
You're gonna find things
Yeah.
disappearing from the man cave.
I was so sad when my doctor told me I couldn't mow the yard anymore. It crushed my soul.
Oh my
It really
gosh.
did.
Mm.
It's like,
Bless your
oh.
heart.
But anyway,
Claire.
All right, Robin, we got
happy
we gotta
birthday,
go to break.
Timmy.
All right, take it
All
easy,
right, happy
buddy.
birthday, Timmy.
Thank you,
All
buddy.
right,
I
buddy.
appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, let's take a break. We're live in local real talk on Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME. We'll be right back.
AM.
It's holding this. They're so loud.
All right, we're back. Rayford,
Yes, ma'am.
did you know that Onslow County is, well, not Onslow County, but a solar farm project, a new one, is being proposed at off 5 Mile Road?
Okay. Now, who's going to own that?
Don't know. What happened, the only reason I knew about it was apparently yesterday, there was a meeting of concerned citizens at the Smithfields on Yop Road, and they were to meet to discuss their questions about it. And so apparently, the project organizers have told residents in the Cherry Grove community that zoning permits still need to be obtained from the county. And there's people that live in that area, they have questions because they want to know whether impact studies have even been conducted.
Well, there are a lot of questions.
Mhm.
That would be one of them. The second one would be, then I'm gonna give you some facts here about something else too. Another location I know who has some solar energy plus wind energy. But right now, questions that I have are how much taxpayers' dollars. Now that doesn't mean just Onslow County or whatever. That means if this is a private project, how many grants, that's tax dollars. Grants are nothing but tax dollars.
Mhm.
We pay for it. We, the people, pay for it. Other projects, solar projects that I have seen, they will, they get enough grant money to pay for the entire solar project.
Right.
But they don't have to pay anything to back for the grant money. They're 100% of the money that is they get generating all of that electricity is profit.
Mm-hmm.
100%. There's one in Pender County like that I think probably Timmy knows about as well.
Mhm.
But they got the panels, they got the project set up for free. All they had to do was provide the land. All of this was taken care of at taxpayer expense, grant money, taxpayer expense. And then they got all the profit.
Mhm.
No, I'm against it. Now, real quick, like for just a little fact, an island that I know fairly well, been going there longer than most people in Onslow County have been alive. The Dutch Caribbean island of Bonaire. There are two other islands there included in this one, St. Eustatius and Sable. They produced, in a recent year, they produced a total of 136 million kilowatts hours of electricity. Of that, 45 million came from renewable resources.
Mhm.
Okay. That's about 33% of the total electricity produced. Production levels on the three islands were just as high and in sustaining years, of subsequent years. Now, here's the thing. Only 1%. 1%. Now, you got to understand, these islands are basically in a sun zone. The sun shines 348 days out of 365 every year. That doesn't happen here in North Carolina or in Onslow County. The sun shines there most of the time. Of that, all that electricity generated from renewable sources, 1% came from solar.
Mhm.
The other 32+% of renewable electricity produced from renewable sources came from wind-driven turbines, windmills, y'all. That's what's going on now. How much would a big solar farm produce in Onslow County? Don't know. What about the future of that particular piece of land when the leaching occurs?
Mhm.
Who's going to clean it up?
That's what I wanted to know. And what impact is this farm going to have in surrounding areas as
Yes.
well? What's involved in producing it? Where, like you said, who's benefiting from this? And I certainly hope that when the county commissioners sit down and review this, that they ask the appropriate questions and don't just willy-nilly vote for it because it sounds good at the time. I think something like this needs to be studied.
Well, it needs to be
at
studied,
length.
but I'm not sure it's the county commissioners who have the right, the authority, the obligation to do too much studying other than, does it meet the criteria for land use? That to me is about the only thing the county commissioners can decide. I don't want to tell them how I should can be able to use my property. They can decide on zoning.
Yeah, because they said they have according to WITN, the organizer, they say project organizers. So we don't know who these project organizers are because they're not named.
Correct.
Say that zoning permits still need to be obtained from the county. That's what I'm saying. I hope
Mhm.
before the county randomly just throws out permits that they do their due diligence. That's
Well,
what I'm saying.
I would hope so. And there needs to be a lot of, the people in the community need to stand there and say, listen up, hold
Yeah.
on. Who's this going to benefit?
Correct.
How am I going to benefit? Where's the money coming from to produce this farm?
Because
How is
yeah.
there going to be money? Is this guy who's going to be making money from this project going to have enough money put away to fix the land once this stuff wears out?
Because this stuff leaks
Solar
chemicals.
cells do not last forever.
No,
Correct.
about 30 years, I think, is what
At the
span is.
most.
Yeah.
And there's chemicals involved and everything else. Like this,
Yep.
it's like a lot.
Yeah. And it's
So-
got to be disposed of.
We've screwed up in the past in this country.
Yes.
We buried oil tanks, gas
Yep.
tanks, and all sorts of stuff like that, and they all leached. And then we had what they call brown zones, brown land that could not be used for any purpose.
Right.
Okay, now it's your turn.
You're
Take a break.
We'll take a break. We're live and local Real Talk on Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m. WSME. We'll be back. All right, we are back for our final little bit.
Hey, got something for you.
Okay.
And Timmy, you'll probably appreciate this as well. There's a guy had written something. I don't have his name, but a little observation. He wrote, "When everything went to hell in Florida after Hurricane Ian, I didn't see a lot of Priuses, windmills, or social justice warriors coming to save the day. I saw diesel trucks, combustion generators, heavy tractors, fuel tankers, and a whole lot of bearded good old boys putting some of that toxic masculinity to work, saving lives and rebuilding society." Or put more succinctly, when the proverbial stuff hits the fan, nobody calls the pronoun people for help.
Makes sense.
I like that.
That is too.
When it all comes down to, what's got to be done, well, we got to give it to some people who know how to get the job done. Get her done.
You can have all the intelligence in the world, but if you don't have some hands on, you're in a mess. Unless you build a robot, and who's got to build a robot?
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
Tomorrow I want to talk just for a little bit about another one of Biden's idiots, and the press secretary. I'll try to get into it right early in the morning, but she's telling outright lies, just right off the cuff, and she's getting caught by not just the conservative element of reporters, but by everybody. People inside the administration are catching her. I don't think Biden knows the difference, but there was something so glaring occurring yesterday that it was like even the reporters, the conservative reporters in the audience were like shocked, totally shocked. So we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, we've had a good show, Tim. We appreciate you being here.
I
today.
enjoyed
It's lots
Yeah,
of fun.
it's good. It's a
love
good time. And happy birthday to you.
Thank you very
Now,
much.
I do have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
So does St. Diane have a purple bikini?
Oh, Lord.
If she does, she's not. I haven't seen it. Now she's got
know
a
what?
purple scarf that she'll
You
put
can-
around her.
You can stop by the store. Some of those stores near the beaches and stuff, they'll have some purple bikinis.
Yeah, and I would buy her one.
Well,
and
she can make
wouldn't
one
wear
with a
it.
scarf.
Yeah, she can just wear the scarf and the smile.
Yeah, that'll work.
I mean,
She can wear a
I mean,
purple
I
scarf.
I went and got her breakfast this morning and came back by, and she's got birthday presents sitting there, and I said, "What are you doing up to start with?" "Well, I'm just gonna get up and wish you happy birthday." "Honey, go back to bed." And but she was up, and bless her. I mean, I love Saint Diane. I mean, I call her Saint Diane, Princess Natalie, and she's great.
Among those gifts, did she have a roll of saran wrap?
No,
Okay, I'll discuss that later.
She did
We
give me
take
some.
this off
She
air.
did give me some popsicle sticks and pink duct tape one time. We won't go into that either. But I used to have that saying. But yeah, she did that for a gift one year. I said,
Cool.
"Well, honey, how
All
many?"
Thank you,
But
Timmy. Happy
she
birthday.
puts up with a lot. Bless her heart.
does.
She oh my God, she does. And people pray for her all the time. In fact, some churches have it written in blood.
Oh, my
Yeah.
gosh. It's on the prayer list at church.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Rayford will be with you in tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. So,
Sound like a winner.
yep. And to everyone listening, we appreciate you listening today and listen to our antics and our rants and raves and whatever. And we will see everyone tomorrow. And everyone have a good day. Yep, so
Y'all
we're-
be good.
We're live in local real talk on Freedom 97.1, 1120 a.m.